Black parents, I feel like they don't apologize for anything that they do because they look at it as them as a hierarchy. I'm your parent. I provide food for you. I provide shelter for you. Okay, well, you still could hurt my feelings. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. I wanted to talk today about kind of a touchy topic, but I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about and something that happened for a lot of individuals in the Black community, and it's childhood trauma from your parents. Now, I want to make this video just to talk about the topic. I'm not making this video to bash anybody's parents, including mine. I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, Black parents are horrible or anything like that. And then honestly, you might experience some of these things even if you didn't have a Black parent. But at the same time, I just feel like these are things that should be talked about so they don't repeat themselves in the future. So let's get right into it. First, training and not teaching. I always tell people growing up, I always felt like my mom trained me, like to do certain things. And I feel like it comes with a fear tactic, right? In the sense of when we get in trouble for something, not like that, but like that, for a lot of us, it was a whooping. It wasn't a thing of you being told why you shouldn't do this thing. Sometimes you used to get whoopings for stuff and you didn't even know why, for real. But it just made you not do that thing, or at least not do that thing in front of your parent. And so it made you have a sense of fear around your parent. It kind of like made you look at them not more so as a parent, but more so as an enforcer. Like, oh, if you do this, you're gonna get a whooping, or you do this, you're gonna get in trouble. So much so that when you did certain things, like I remember I got in trouble in school one day and I was crying because I'm like, they're gonna call my mom and my mom's gonna love me and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just a thing of like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it should be okay to get in trouble in school, but I feel like I knew when I got home it wouldn't have been a, oh mom, let's talk about what happened, or you get what I'm saying? And the crazy part is I'm not even a bad child. I'm not even a bad child. And I had gotten in trouble for, it wasn't even in trouble, that's the crazy part. It was just they called my mom about something that happened at school, but I was so afraid of getting a whooping that I was crying. And it's like, I was crying because I knew I couldn't talk to her. I was crying because I knew she wouldn't hear me out. And I feel like it instills a sense of fear into that child that they don't feel like they can talk about their parent to their parent about anything. And so you become a trainer to your children. Like you just train them what not to do, but you're not teaching them what not to do. And then I even had a story in which I was so afraid of my mom. And it's not saying my mom was so abusive, but it's like, not like that, but like that. I just knew if I did something wrong, I would get in trouble. Sometimes it wasn't even a whooping. It was just, I was so afraid of getting in trouble. So long story short, one time my little cousin came over the house. She was like 4 years old. I probably was like 10 years old or something like that. And it was time for her to use the bathroom. She told my mom she had to use the bathroom. And so my mom was like, okay, like, you know how to use the bathroom by yourself, da-da-da-da. And she was like, yeah. And my mom was like, just making sure, like, okay, so you know how to wipe yourself and everything? As you know, if you don't know, it's okay. But as women, we're supposed to wipe ourselves from the front to the back. And, you know, my mom was like, how do you wipe yourself? And so she told my mom, she's like, I wipe myself like this. So my mom was like, good job. Okay, go to the bathroom. So I didn't hear what she said, but I was just like, okay, whatever. So then she goes to the bathroom. She comes out, whatever. So then my mom is talking to me like a couple hours later. And she was like, Shamaya, how you wipe yourself? And I was like, mind you, I always wipe myself from the front to the back. I'm not sure if I was taught it or what, but that's always how I did it. But I was so afraid of saying the wrong answer, y'all. I said from the back to the front. Because I was just afraid. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And so I'm like, my mom said to the front and the back and the back to the front. I said from the back to the front, y'all. My mom was like, that's a damn shame. This 4-year-old know how to wipe herself, and my 9-year-old, whatever, 10-year-old can't wipe herself. Mind you, I did know how to do it. I just had so much fear of saying the wrong answer. And it's not even like I thought I was going to get a whooping. It was just, I thought I was going to get in trouble. I didn't know what was going to happen. You get what I'm saying? And it's just things of that sort. And then even with that thing, she was like, that's a damn shame, whatever. And she was like, you wipe yourself from the front to the back, da-da-da-da. But mind you, even though she did probably looked at that as her way of teaching me, I already had got in trouble for that thing. I knew because, and it wasn't a real trouble, it's just the way she said it. That's a damn shame. Like I just felt like she was mad at me. I felt like I was in trouble. I say that to say, even when she did say, even if I didn't know how to wipe myself, I wasn't receptive of what she was saying after, of the, oh, this is how you do it. Because it's like, you're not genuinely trying to teach me. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like there's that sense of fear that I don't think Black parents sometimes realize they instill in their child and how it makes their child react to certain things. Another one, being seen and not heard. I don't know about y'all, but maybe it's because some people in my family are a little bit old school, but there's a thing in my family of being seen and not heard, meaning you should see a child, but you should not hear a child. You should know a child is at a house, but you should not hear that child. Now, I get that to a certain extent. I don't want children banging and ramming and yelling, but I think it was such a thing, and like I said, reverting back to the fear, it was such a thing that me and my cousins were afraid of getting in trouble that like we might laugh and we'd be like, shh, like you're being loud, like, and then a little bit, I feel like it kind of takes away your child, like you, the inner child in you, because you feel like you can't necessarily always be a child around adults. You can't always run. You can't always, you get what I'm saying? Like do certain things because it's like, you should be seen and not heard. I shouldn't hear this child. Or even if two adults were talking, like I might have something to say, but it's like, I don't say it. Simply because I don't want to interrupt two adults. Mind you, I could just say, excuse me, which I have done before, but I could also say there are times where I just didn't say nothing or I didn't bring nothing up because I saw two adults talking and they always kind of gave that mindset of like, you should be seen, not heard. Which, like I said, I know that's a little bit of an old school way, but I just never really agreed with that. And going into the being seen, not heard, I feel like it goes into the hierarchy in the Black community. There's this thing of you need to respect your elders, which I respect and understand to a certain extent, but I feel like it's sometimes more toxic to the community than it's not. I say that to say, not like that, but like that, you should respect the 5-year-old the same way you respect their 50-year-old, the same way you respect a 25-year-old. Like, I don't feel like it should be a thing of you respect someone more simply based upon their age. And I feel like in the black community, it's a thing of adults being able to treat younger people badly for the simple fact that they're an adult and you should respect your elder, and that's your elder and you have to respect him. But it's like they could disrespect me, and I feel like it becomes a thing of people especially misabusing that unbeknownst thing, whether it was said directly or indirectly in the Black community, by people manipulating children, older people manipulating children, disrespecting children, doing things to children, knowing that child was taught to respect them. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, I don't think everyone says it in a sense of, or I will hope a parent wouldn't say it in a sense of like, oh, let this person abuse you or whatever and then don't say nothing. But I feel like, not like that, but like that, sometimes that's why it happens. Because this person knows I can do something to this child, but this child has already been taught not to say nothing, not to disrespect me, so if I tell this child, don't say nothing, that kind of is what that child was taught. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like there's this thing of like adults a lot of times believing the adult. Why? Because they simply have more respect for them. And not like that, but like that, children have a less likely, like don't get me wrong, some children do lie, but I feel like it's a rarity that children lie, especially when children are young, because it's like, what gain does that child have? And not even just young, children don't have a gain. Like from this person getting in trouble or this person, like children, the probability of a child lying, in my opinion, unless they seen something on TV or somebody told them to say something, like children aren't just gonna think of an adult doing something to them, or you get what I'm saying? For the most part, there are, whatever. I say that to say, in the Black community, this thing of respect your elders, you know, when it comes to parenting, it's just like, I don't really like that, because it also becomes a thing of, my mom used to always say, respect, honor thy parents, right? It's in the Bible, something about honor thy mother, honor thy father. She will always say that. And my whole thing is, Black parents like having that kind of mindset, but there's also another proverb in the Bible, which I did not learn until I got older, which I was annoyed about, that says, basically, don't provoke thy child. Like, don't provoke your child, because there is a thing of like, oh, honor, you respect your mom, respect your dad, but it's like, not like that, but like that, respect me. Like, you don't respect me. I don't like how I feel like there's a cutoff in the Black community between when you're an adult and you're not. Once you become an adult, you can be treated differently. Once you become an adult, you can, and then I think it causes a lot of people to like sometimes feel differently about their parents once they get to a certain age, and it kind of feels like, not like that, but like that, you think you only have to parent me until I'm 18. Like, and then your responsibilities of being a parent or whatever has to be gone. And I feel like if you're a parent your entire life, or my entire life, you're going to be my parent. So I feel like, don't get me wrong, I might not be in your house, I might not this, I might not that, but don't treat me differently, i.e. kind of better, simply because you don't think I need you anymore. And now that you don't need me for this and you don't need me for that, you could do your own thing. Yeah, now you can talk to me. Now you could, and even when it goes into talking, I feel like Black parents do not allow you a lot of time to say how you feel about things. Like, you're not really allowed to say your feelings about things and, you know, tell them, even if like they hurt you for something. You hurt my feelings when you tell a Black parent you hurt their feelings when they... Never heard of it. It's just a thing of like, you're not allowed to express yourself, and it's like they can't be wrong. Because even if you do tell them how you feel, what's the point? Because they're not gonna apologize. And I'm not saying apologizing makes everything go away, but at the same time, it's a start. Black parents, I feel like they don't apologize for anything that they do, because they look at it as them as a hierarchy. I'm your parent. I provide food for you. I provide shelter for you. Okay, well, you still could hurt my feelings. Because I feel like it causes this thing in the Black community, in my opinion, of this overly independence. Because there's this thing that it's like, if somebody takes care of you, if somebody makes sure you're good, then you should let that person treat you like anything. Which I think it develops, especially for women, this kind of independent type of tactic. I feel like there's just like that whole strong Black woman narrative, which I don't like, I'm really not into, but I feel like a big reason for it subconsciously is because you don't want to feel like anybody could take anything from you. Right? The same way your parents, because my mom used to always say, well, I do this for you, I do that for you. So basically what they were subconsciously saying was, since I do all this stuff for you, I could treat you however I want. And you don't want to feel that way again. You don't want anybody in this world to feel like they could treat you however they want to, simply because they could do something for you. So you don't allow nobody to do nothing for you. What? I could do this myself. And I'm like that too. It causes a lot of Black women, in my opinion, to be overly masculine, like exert masculine energy, because first and foremost, as a child, you're not used to being able to say, that hurt my feelings. So what happens when somebody does hurt your feelings, which is the root to stuff, or makes you sad or whatever, what do? You pop off, or you argue, or you do whatever, you know, you do a comeback, or you try to get back. Why? Because as a child, you were not allowed basically to say how you feel. So as an adult, you definitely not gonna do that. And now as a child, you couldn't even use these words. Now you got a whole new vocabulary you can use against somebody. And it's just a thing of like, you having this masculine energy, you just feel like you always have to protect yourself. I think it causes a thing of overly independency, because you feel like, I have to protect my feelings, I have to protect this, I have to protect that, because for all these years as a child, you subconsciously felt neglected because you couldn't say how you felt. You didn't feel totally respected because you weren't an adult yet. You get what I'm saying? So finally, when you do get to this age, ain't nobody gonna disrespect me, ain't nobody gonna neglect me and just stay in my life, ain't nobody. And then it's like, sometimes when people are there for you, you still feel like you have to provide for yourself overly when people do try to help you. Or it's a thing when people do hurt you, your intent is kind of to hurt them back. Like, it's like, and trust me, one thing, it's so hard for me to say, and I'm trying to get into it, especially when it comes to men. You hurt my feelings. When you did that, that made me sad. Instead of popping off, and I know it sounds a little weird, even saying it sounds weird. But one thing I also learned is, it's easy for somebody to pop back at you. It's easy for somebody to argue with you when y'all are both being combative. If you tell somebody, hey, you know, you really hurt my feelings when you did this. You made me feel sad when and if that person still is snapping back at you, they're evil. I'm gonna tell you right now, they are evil. Let them go. Because a regular person, a sane person, is going to be like, you know what? Dang, I did hurt your feelings. Dang, you get what I'm saying? Now, I am a big advocate if you can't change a man. He going to do what he want to do. But at the same time, I feel like it causes that less of like that conflict of the snapping back, because it's kind of like, it's but so much people could snap at you. It's like arguing with somebody that's not going to argue with you. It's like, all right, this is no point. What's the point of doing this? But I feel like it comes from this overly independency, because as children, we weren't allowed to express ourselves, or we actually were taught not to when it comes to an adult. And it's probably more, you know what I'm saying? Like you're taught more. So like, not taught, we're trained how to act. So we're just following our training. And when it comes to specifically being a young woman, another thing I also could say is this idea of being grown. There's this big thing, I think in the Black community more so, that I see in a lot of communities, of being grown. And it comes with some of the littlest things, such as the color red. In the Black community, the color red is like a no-go for little girls. You cannot have red nails. You cannot wear red lipstick. You can have blue, pink, orange, purple nails. Can't do that lipstick. Can't do those, you know what I'm saying? In a sense of, and it's just kind of like, as a child, I kind of always knew that because it was always said, but I never, like, it never made sense to me why, or it didn't have to make sense, I guess, because an adult said it, and I never questioned it, which we don't do a lot, because I feel like nowadays, too, also, a lot of adults don't even know why they say certain stuff. Like, if you seriously ask somebody why not the color red, they'd probably be like, oh, well, because my mama said, and her mama said, and then her auntie, mama, don't nobody know. But they're not questioned about nothing, so they could keep it going. I say that to say, like, colors, like hair, not like that, but, well, I ain't really straightened my hair, my real hair, when I was young, because I didn't have much hair. But even like if a young Black girl straightens her hair and she has after a certain length amount of hair, it's grown. I went to school with white girls in elementary school whose hair was almost to their feet. Nobody said nothing. And I feel like it's just certain things that is, I just feel like it's seen as grown, and but it's like, no, you're overly sexualizing that child. It's nothing grown about a color. It's nothing grown about hair. Even sometimes I've seen little, little Black girls or whatever the case may be, and they might get braids and they might have extensions. It's a child-friendly kind of, hairstyle with braids or whatever, but it's because it's a certain length. It's grown. Like that's literally a child. Like, I don't know. And I feel like it's, like I said, it's this distinction. You can't do this until you're a certain age. And then I feel like it overly sexualizes a child. And then, like I said, again, you're trained and you're not really taught, like, hey, don't do this because, which also is, a lot of times people don't be having real reasonings. But then I think it also just creates this thing of this child feeling like, okay, so if I do this, I am grown. So then when that little girl does sneak some red lipstick, or she does, you get what I'm saying, do something like that, it's like, oh, I'm grown now. And they feel grown over something little, over something, but all they gotta do is not do it in front of you. And it's not grown. You're just overly sexualizing that child. But I feel like that happens so much in the Black community. Like, I've literally seen pictures side by side of a Black little girl and another girl of a different race, and they're basically wearing the same thing, but comments of the Black little girl would be like, oh, that was grown, da da da, and they compared it to like a little girl of a different race, and it just looked like a normal picture, like a normal girl you would see walking down the street. And don't get me wrong, I get it. The generations are changing. We see it all the time on social media. I'm not saying there aren't grown children. In my opinion, there are. But I feel like, especially at a young age, I feel like the Black community over-sexualizes children, making them be grown, making them, and it's like, not like that, but like that. They don't know. They don't know the difference between none of this grown stuff and none of this. They're just kids. That's the last thing on their mind. They don't even know what's going on. So if it is something that a child is doing that is, something they shouldn't be doing, tell them why they shouldn't be doing it. But don't always, oh, you being grown. Oh, you, like, that's actually so frustrating to me. Okay? And another thing, going back to the overly independent thing, making women feel like they have to know how to do certain things. Like, don't get me wrong, at a young age, I learned how to cook and clean and all this other stuff. But I feel like sometimes in the Black community, and it's a lot of communities too, I guess, as well, but it's like it's always directed at the girls. The girls have to learn how to clean. The girls have to learn how to do this. The girls have to learn how to do that. And it's like, but what? Like, why can't he learn how to do this? Why can't you get what I'm saying? It's like it creates this thing of like you have to have everything together, because you also have to be independent. You can't let nobody take care of you, but you also have to know how to cook. You also have to know how to clean. And I feel like it creates these unattainable standard. Like, you have to be everything. You have to be a super mom, a super wife, a super this, a super that. And then you also have to love yourself. And like, what is we talking about? No, I can't do all that stuff. Like, not like that, but like that, we need to start sharing some responsibility as well in the Black community, and stop with this, oh, women gotta do this, the men gotta do that, and da 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 da, because I feel like it creates just a toxic environment. I don't know. I just feel like in the Black community, it's like women have to do so much. And then a lot of women also are single moms. So you're telling me I gotta cook, I gotta clean, I gotta go to work, I gotta do all these other things. And it's like, not like that, but like that. You were subconsciously taught this was the life you was gonna have to do regardless. Be prepared for this regardless since you were young. Which I don't agree with. And that was it. Those are just a few things that I wanted to touch on. I just want to talk about that I feel like are a thing in the Black community that needs to be talked about and discussed. And like I said before, it's not a thing to bash nobody's parents. Not even to bash my mom. I love my mom to death. She was a single mom. You know, she did all she could. But I feel like we have to acknowledge that these things were taught over the years. And I feel like the first step to getting rid of something is to acknowledging it. Like, our parents aren't aware of a lot of these things that cause us trauma. Like I said, a lot of these things has caused me trauma when it comes to dating, friendship, like so many ways I've had trauma of like, then like I always have to be independent and I always have to be just a certain kind of person. I can't show my feelings because somebody might take advantage of them. And it's like I don't know, it's just crazy. It's like, why do you think like that? But I realized a lot of it came from childhood trauma. And then I realized a lot of other individuals who grew up in Black households went through this trauma or similar trauma. So I just wanted to talk about that. And like I did personally direct this towards the Black community because I've only been Black my entire life, so I don't know nobody else's household. But other households could have went through this too. It's not just specifically only Black people go through this. And also, not every single Black person has went through this. Another thing too, I know some people gonna be like, I didn't go through that and my mom. I just talked about a very, very general, blanket over some of the things that I know I have went through, friends have went through, family members, just things that I personally know about that I want to talk about. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because these are the things we are not doing with our children moving forward. And another thing too, this is not meaning we're perfect. Just because we're aware of these things does not mean we're perfect. It does not mean we're gonna have the best children, our next generation. But at the same time, one, we're aware about these things, and two, we can check these things. Like, wait, no, I'm doing that. I shouldn't be doing that. Wait, I'm doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. So like I said, we're not bashing these parents. We just hope to, ultimately just improve the community all in all for the next generation. So thank you guys so much and have a great one.